Hello there. Welcome everyone to Black Muslim Girl Fly. Today is our Friday feature. We do every Friday live. Today is February the 2nd, and we have Nadirah P., my favorite black woman comedian who happens to be a black Muslim woman. And today we're going to be talking about a lot of different things, including her professional career, some of the things that she likes to chat about on Instagram, and as far as Black Muslim Girl Fly, what it means to her and what our organization means to the community, in her opinion. I'm very curious to find out. My name is Nia Malika Dixon. I founded Black Muslim Girl Fly back in 2018. After coming up against a lot of obstacles in the film industry. Mainly, I attended a few panels while I was at Sundance back in 2018. And I'd like to ask questions about Black Muslim stories and Black Muslim representation in film and television. And I was met with so many obstacles, a lot of pushback. And so I decided, well, why don't we just have our own film festival? And that's how Black Muslim Girl Fly Film Festival was born. And if you haven't seen some of the films that we feature, visit our website at bmgflyfest.vhx.tv, and you can check out all the different kinds of films that we featured in our film festival, as well as some of our keynote speakers and our performers. So each year we would have a performer, and one of my favorite performers was Amira Unplugged at our last festival. And alhamdulillah, I love scrolling to see how amazing she's doing right now in her career. So if you don't follow Amira Unplugged, please do follow her as well. But right now we are waiting for Nadirah P. to hop on, and we'll get started with our chat. Let me just check to see where she is, and hopefully I'll bring her in on this live. And if you have any questions, please do feel free to write them in the chat, and maybe we'll be able to get to some of the questions that you ask. If you don't follow us on Instagram, now's a good time, and you should be following us here. We're also on TikTok and on Twitter. And also on YouTube. On our YouTube channel, you will be able to watch some of our previous Friday features, including Haja Kamila Shuaib from Oakland, an independent filmmaker, Malika A. Shabazz from Detroit, and Marguerite Hill, who is the executive director and founder of Muslimark, and she is in Los Angeles. And this week, we have a fellow East Coaster. Well, I'm originally from Baltimore, but she is from the East Coast as well, in New Jersey, and I'm definitely excited to have her on here. Let's see if she can go ahead and hop in. Hold on one second. So, welcome to today's Friday feature with Black Muslim Girl Fly and Nadirah P. Salaam alaikum. Welcome. Awesome.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes. How about me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, everything is perfect. How you doing?
Wonderful. Alhamdulillah, fine. And I'm so excited you wore your t-shirt. You know, I decided to change it the last minute. No, but look at me. I was scrolling through your videos and I was like, oh snap, she is wearing the t-shirt in that video.
It's so much to the point where I don't know if you remember, but you gave me 2 of them.
Awesome.
So it's like I keep them in rotation.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Alhamdulillah. So before we get started, I know there are a lot of folks who are hopping in, and I don't want to have them missing something. I'm going to pull up my questions, but I know you really wanted to talk about a few things in particular, and I was so excited because I was like, I definitely want to talk about that, intergenerational friendships. That's a great topic, especially because in the Muslim community, I well, in the Black Muslim community, I'm going to say, speaking from my experience, I've been taught to value the stories of my elders,
Right.
and I believe that comes from the griot tradition of being a Black American. You pass down the stories of your culture and your history through storytelling. So, yes, that I'm excited to talk about. All right, well, just to get started, tell everyone who you are, where you grew up, and what you're doing now.
Okay, so my name is Nadirah P, aka Nadirah Pierre. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, so I'm an East Coast Jersey girl. I I don't know, there's like so much, but for the past almost 6 or 7 years now, I've done stand up as well as content creation here on the internet. I've done stand up all over the country. Um, and I'm very specific about mentioning my niche. I do Muslim comedy.
Thank you.
And as of lately, I have a 9 to 5, I have a corporate job, and
Mm.
I run the social media for a healthcare
Oh,
office.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So to get into it about Black Muslim Girl Fly, I know folks are seeing you with your t-shirt. Tell us, when did Black Muslim Girl Fly enter your life and how?
I was trying to go through our messages and I don't really remember, to be honest. I know we've had a lot of correspondence and we've met
Hmm.
a couple times. But I'm
Yeah.
not sure which one came first. I don't know if we met on the internet first. I don't know if we met in person first. But I know it's been a few years now. The last time I saw you was at my show in
Yeah.
LA. Um, and I feel like we've spoken a couple times. I don't know if we've ever did a broadcasting on social media, but we were on I believe like a podcast together at one point. So it was just like a lot. But it's been a few years now, and I remember the first part that I heard about was the fest, the Black Muslim Girl. So I was like, oh, that's like super dope. Especially with you being a fellow Black American Muslim woman from the East Coast, like if we don't know how to do nothing else, we know how to put on an event.
You
So
got
that's
that right.
like the first thing that I learned about, and then just seeing all the amazing projects that you have and like everything that you do, which I'm like still not sure, um, because there's just so many things, and it's like, hey, did you know I do this? And I'm like, no, I had no idea about that. Um, so yes, it's been a few years now of us having a connection, of us being connected.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, I remember the first Friday feature iteration. I actually did Zoom interviews, and I think it was back in 2018 or 2019.
Yeah.
And you were like one of the first folks that I did interviews with. And
Oh,
like the goal was to put all of those interviews together in a book because, like, the whole reason why BMG Fly got started was an
yeah.
empowerment. So, like, it was just about lifting up other Black Muslim girls and women, and what better way to do that than with an example of all of these different Black Muslim women and girls? And so, like,
Yeah.
people can still see that interview, the written version of it, on our website at bmgfly.org. Yeah,
Okay. I love
alhamdulillah.
that.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
have to go. I feel like I haven't seen it in a
Yeah, yeah.
while.
Yeah, we've interviewed a bunch of folks, and alhamdulillah, I've stayed in touch with everybody. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, and the whole idea behind BMG Fly was empowerment, but everybody it needs it in a different way. And so, like, one of the things that I really enjoyed was asking, how does BMG Fly like show up in your life? How do you embody it? So yeah, tell everybody like what BMG Fly means to you and how you embody that.
Um, I feel like with something like BMG Fly, it's one of those things where it's like warmth and community.
Mm,
Like so many times, like as a comedian, I'm always like meeting people. I'm somewhere with this group or that group or these people or that people. But it's like it's a whole different feel to be around people and then to be around your people.
right.
Especially as a Black person, especially as a Muslim, and especially as a woman.
Mhm.
Um, so it's like I can be around a group of women, and it's like, oh yeah, haha, kiki. But then it's like, I'm with my girls, which is a whole different fiasco. It's an event.
Exactly.
Um, so I think that's what it resembles for me, is being with my girls, and that very clear distinction.
I love it. The warmth and the connection. And another sister has said the same thing. And part of that, it just comes from within. Like as Black women, that's something I think that Allah has blessed us with. And then the whole idea behind it means, to me, connecting with each other. That's why I was so excited for you to say intergenerational friendships,
Yeah.
because like to me, that's why BMG Fly is important. So like connecting with your elders, but also connecting with folks that are younger than you, because you have some secrets and like some tips and tricks that they could definitely benefit from. You know what I'm saying? And I have a daughter who's she might be your age. I don't know. She was born in 95. So like,
Okay, I was born in 96.
see,
So yeah, right
a lot of folks don't realize that I'm like late 70s baby. So,
there. Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff I learned the hard way that y'all definitely could use, that I don't want y'all to have to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
So tell us, like, why is it important for you to like connect with to have friendships, like you said, intergenerational friendships?
Um, I think for me, it is so important because, and I haven't really talked much about it because I didn't realize until like I got older, but I was the only child for like 12, 13 years.
Wow.
And the only sibling that I have is a boy. So
Aw.
it's like, and I have so many friends. Like I think collectively I may have like 2 friends that are only children. Everybody else has a lot of siblings, a wide array of siblings. And majority of my girlfriends have sisters, older and younger. So I always tell people I feel like the reason that I have cultivated and take so serious all the friendships that I do is because I didn't have any siblings. So like these are like my stand-in my stand-in siblings.
And
So
siblings.
right. So I think because of that, and I grew up, with my grandparents and my parents, I was always around a lot of older people. And in a way that surprisingly, I feel like a lot of my peers, or let me not say a lot, some of my peers haven't experienced, is the friendship that you can have with somebody that's way older than you. I see how that has benefited my life. I see how I'm able to get those tips and tricks, and I view things differently. And there's so many things that I was able to experience differently because I had friendships with women that were older than me, from 2 years all the way up to like women that are double and triple my age.
That's dope.
And I think that's also important for me now because I'm 27 now, and that's not old, but I'm to the point now where it's like there are women that are clearly younger than me, and I see like the difference in the experience and the thought process. And I think we always talk about like how younger women can benefit from older women, but we usually miss how older women benefit from younger women.
Yes, speak on that.
The ease of like how older women view things and the information they can give you is also, it like holds the same weight as what younger women can give older women, in the sense of, I find with the friendships that I do have with women that are older, I'm like, let's chill. Like, let's just calm down. And this definitely has to do with the fact that because these women are so much older and have very different life experiences, they came up very rough. Very, very rough. And that's not something where, as women, as the women that I'm around, as they've gotten older, they're more established, they're more comfortable, they're more confident, they have more money, they have established homes and families and relationships. But even with the ability to afford convenience and a certain comfortability in life, that hard shell doesn't shed.
Right.
They're going around and they're carrying all these things, and I'm like, hey, let's be easy breezy, beautiful cover
Right.
girls. Like let's relax. Like
Exactly.
let's spend some of that money. Let's
Right.
have a day to rest because we're finally at a place in our lives where we can afford it.
Right.
Let's look around at the fact that there's so many things that you no longer have to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even see that you don't have to worry about. Like, let me show you how to relax. Let me show you how to have a good time. Let me show you what to do with the things that Allah has given you. And even let me just give you a different perspective and let me show you what ease really is and how to
Listen,
embody that.
I had to learn that myself.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I feel you. But I also see that in my mother. And it
Mhm.
wasn't a funny story. It wasn't until I was watching Mad Men that I realized, oh my God, this was my mother's life. Like, watching Mad Men, I was like, oh my God, that's why my mom acts the way she does, because
Yeah.
this was like the society that she lived in. And I have to tell her, Mommy, like, you don't have to get the cheap brand of toilet paper. I know that sounds so weird, but it's like, honey,
Yeah.
Mom, like, it all comes from Allah. Like, get the
Right.
Charmin.
Okay.
She was always trying to like pinch
Yeah.
pennies and like make a dollar out of 15 cents. So it was like, but on the other side of that, I had to like learn from my daughter that, like you said, relax. Stress is not the way to go. Like,
Yeah.
you've got time. Like, video games are an actual hobby that you can enjoy.
Right.
So yeah, no, I get you. How does that show up in your life? Like the most fun way that you've seen that show up?
Um, I think it's like that perfect mix between like that first time that you really get to go out with like your older auntie that has money and no filter. And hey, like, have I ever told you about how my third marriage ended? And it's like, you had a third marriage? Like, what?
Right.
um, it's like she's telling you all these things, she's telling you all these things, and then you're just sitting there and she's like, okay, let's go out to this restaurant. And then she's like, what? You want to get an appetizer? You want to get this? And it's like, yeah, because you got money. And we know
Right.
that. So let's spend it. Um, but I think it also shows up with my mother,
Mhm.
like just seeing the level of like worry that she has about so many things that I'm like, no, like why are we doing that? Why is that? Like I understand why she's doing that, but trying to show her that it's not necessary.
Right.
It's to the point where I'm telling my mother, like, which alhamdulillah, very established woman, very educated woman. I'm like, you can get up today and you can decide to completely transform your entire life. And it'll be done by tomorrow afternoon.
Right.
And it's like, I've literally watched you do it before. And it's like just trying to show my mother how her security can match up with her ability. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay to be firm and to understand who you are and what you have done with your life.
Hmm.
Allow that to assist you in relaxing,
Right.
calming down. Let's all just relax. Um, but she's my mother. She's from that generation, so that's very, very difficult for her.
No, I feel you. Like, is she Generation X like me?
I think
Yeah.
so. I believe yes.
Yeah, we came up rough.
Right.
We were like the first latchkey kids. No seatbelt having, you know.
Vibes.
Yes. I loved it though. Like, I mean, it's turned me into who I am. I'm a child of the late 70s, 80s, and I grew up with hip hop, and, like, that's who I am. And a lot of times as Muslims, as Black
Yeah.
Muslims, sometimes I've witnessed that we tend to lose our culture.
Hmm.
And that was one thing, alhamdulillah, I was blessed to have growing up in Baltimore, at one of the W.D. Muhammad masjids. And, Muhammad Ali came to our masjid, and I met him, and he was really cool. And he said something to me that has stuck with me for the rest of my life. He was like, little sister, you're going to be great. And I was like, you know what? Muhammad Ali says I'm going to be great, so I'm going to be great.
That is so
But,
funny because he came to our masjid too. And in
Yes.
my scrapbook, she literally has the little paper that he autographed for her.
Look at that, right? That brother is touching lives.
Not a black
Seriously.
girl
Yes.
tour. Yeah.
Exactly. But like I grew up in Sister Clara Muhammad Masjid, and like my teachers were like those aunties. That's where Black Muslim Girl Fly originated. You know what I'm saying? You know, I wear my scarf this way because my mom used to wrap her head like this when I was a little kid. So it's like that stuff to me is so important to my identity as a Black
Yeah.
woman, but also as a Muslim. And you know, I try to infuse that into everything that I do, because in a way I'm not only honoring my upbringing, but I'm honoring those aunties that, you know, loved on me and helped me to grow up into who I am today. So, and they might be on this live, like, you know, I told them to check
Yeah.
in.
Yeah,
So do
I
you?
think that's very true. And even like from an Islamic perspective, it says after a certain age, you're supposed to befriend your children.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there is a wisdom in that. Um, but I think the sweet spot of learning how to, well, I don't think the sweet spot is necessary, because even my friends are a consistent source of guidance for me, and I look to them for information.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, aunties that I have that are my friends, or even the ones where we don't necessarily have a friendship, but they're friendly with
Mm-hmm.
me, have to teach me more, have been able to get messages across, have been able to empower me and support me and all these other things. But I think kind of where like that rift comes, it is when inevitably in every friendship, in every relationship, there's tension.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, do you have the emotional fortitude to not snap back into that ego driven, I'm your elder, da 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 da. Can we move through this with the same love and respect that's present with your elders should also be present with your friends?
I
Um,
agree.
so can we move through this uncomfortable time as friends? And can we allow this to not deter us or to push us back from this amazing friendship that has sprouted?
Right.
So I think there's just like so many layers to it, but I think both sides just have so much to benefit from being friends or even just being friendly
Mm-hmm.
with each other.
Facts, indeed, indeed. Yeah, Malika, she's in the chat. She was like, "Facts, you get it, sis. Like, you get it." And then, you know, once you establish that level of respect, you even when conflict happens, you're prepared and you know how to better communicate with each other. And that's something like I'm a real big advocate for. Like, express your feelings, don't suppress them, because you can't read minds, and the other person can't read your mind. And so like if you're mature enough to have a conversation and just like express with respect like what you're feeling, then that's better for both parties.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me, what is it that you would love to see more of from Black Muslim Girl Fly?
Um, I, I would love to see, and it may be happening because I know you're on the West Coast, but I would really love like a meetup.
Oh, cool.
That's my thing now. Like, we had the whole age of being virtual, and I ate that up. Like, so many people that I met virtually that I'm like, I can't imagine living without
I
this person.
feel you.
But I'm definitely ready and prepared for, and I know that's not a reality for everyone because COVID and everything else is still very much so alive and well. But if possible, I would love a meetup. The connection via social media or texting or calling is amazing, but it's like something about that like physical union
Mm-hmm.
takes everything to another level for me. Like, I love to meet up for a quick meal, for a quick bite, and just kiki. Like, I love a kiki. I love an in-person kiki. Um, so I think I would love to see a meetup.
That would be awesome. awesome. Like, I mean, that's totally my vibe too. It's just really hard, like you were saying. But like, as a Muslim woman, how would we be able? Actually, let me re-ask this question because
Yeah,
that for sure, I'm checking that off. Let's do that. But
yeah.
how can, like, what do you expect from the Muslim community at large to facilitate those kinds of things?
Um, I think more than anything else, the Muslim community needs to put their money where their mouth
I feel you.
is. Because one thing about Muslims, alhamdulillah, like, we're all suffering financially, but we gonna, and Allah is gonna send the money. But
Mm-hmm.
I think with with the leadership in the community specifically, funds have just been not towards the right things.
Yeah.
Like, why are we raising money to build another minbar?
Right.
We can
Hello.
hear you from the one you got right now. We heard you from the one you had last year. There's other things
Facts.
that we need to be putting this. And I think support really. And I want to stress that I want a meetup that doesn't have these kind of like underlying agendas.
Right.
Like, I've been to, last year I was outside, point blank period. Anything that was happening, I was there. And there were so many things that I went to that I was like, oh my God, I'm ready to go. What I need to leave. Because it was either like lecturing at us or, no tea, no shade, but panel discussions from people that I couldn't care less to hear from. They have nothing of value to say.
Mm-hmm.
People just getting on a panel just to have their picture on a
Mm.
flyer for some egotistical reason. Or it was just some big money scheme.
Yeah.
Some big money scheme that I was like, well, you got my $50. At least feed me and send me on my
Wow.
way. um, so I think a very well-intentioned, good-spirited meetup is what I'm craving.
Yeah, like connecting folks and stuff, like you said, without ulterior motives. And I feel like that has a lot to do with egos, like you were saying. Egos is too big and just, like you said, pointing to the wrong priority. Like I could bring up, like you said, no tea, no shade, but I know so many people, so many quote unquote leaders who need to be reminded, like, yeah, you're not leading very well. You're kind of like out for self. And we
Right.
can see that.
This. So, when we get ready to ask the very real question of who have you served?
Right.
Crickets. Crickets
So yeah.
out on the minbar. Said what? Like what? Okay. um. So yeah, I think that would be beautiful, and I also would like, and the conversation like completely switches anytime I'm having, I'm able to talk with like creatives such as yourself, because I always love to like get together with creatives to like meet up to talk about their ideas and to really see like how I can support them, because there's
Mm-hmm.
too many creatives where we're meeting up and we're talking about our ideas, and then a week later I'm seeing you create that idea and it's like you're pissing me off.
Right.
um but I think I would love to know and to connect and to see like how I can best support other Black Muslim women creatives in doing whatever it is that they want to do.
Right.
Like, I don't care if you want to paint pacifiers. Like, how can we get you a 30 pack of pacifiers
Exactly.
in the quickest time possible?
Since
So,
we're on the same wavelength.
yeah.
But it's really hard to build community with folks because, like you were saying, you get into a group and then some people are just scamming. And it's like,
Yeah.
we just talked about that. Like, how did that's not cool. But how in the world are we going to connect with one another if we're not vulnerable enough, right? But then at the same time, how can we also protect ourselves from that kind of situation? Like, what is your success in that? Like, do you have any tips or advice to other Black Muslim creatives on here? Because I know I spoke to a few who were like, man, I wish it was easier. Like, others probably have some insight. Like, share.
Um, honestly, I only share ideas with other creatives that I have built a relationship and a rapport with. Like, especially in the comedy space,
Right.
quick to steal a joke.
Mm.
And especially when we talk about Muslim comedians, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, but we're almost kind of all rotating those same, like, there's a couple of the same jokes that we all share.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, no harm, no foul. But sometimes if you have a different spin on it, if yours comes out a little bit better, next thing you know, you go to a show and you hear somebody telling that joke. So I'm not interested in sharing any type of jokes, any type of materials, any type of ideas, unless we have a relationship.
Right.
Unless if I were to come to your show and you were to say one of my jokes, I should be able to pick up the phone and call you and cuss you out. Like that's the kind of relationship we have where I have your phone. Anything other than that, I'm not interested. And I'm also not interested in hearing their material because sometimes it's not even necessarily intentional, but as a community, we're very audio people. So there's something, and you're like, oh my God, that's so funny. You'll go to sleep, you'll wake up, days will pass, and you're like, oh, I just got an idea for a new joke. And it's like, that's actually not your idea at all.
Right. Let's not have another Cat Williams situation.
That's actually somebody else's intellectual material, intellectual property.
Exactly.
But I do share with like other types of creatives. So like if I'm talking about some joke material with like an influencer, a YouTuber, oh, that's no problem. Like she might steal it, but it's not really gonna go well, so I don't care.
Right.
Yeah, but definitely,
But
I have some sort of like intimacy with.
Right. So like trust your folks, but like know who to share with.
Right. Trust the folks that like are your folks.
Right.
Everybody's not your folks, but it's like if those are your folks. Now, if they still do something, I try not to like internalize betrayal because that shame is not mine to carry.
Exactly.
It's not mine to carry. Like I didn't betray you, you betrayed me. It's on the shame is on you because you had a responsibility to be loyal and to be honest and to be truthful with me, and you went back on your word.
Right.
So I'm not carrying that shame at all. Don't get me wrong. That happens, I'm still going to be very pissed about it.
Yeah.
And we may have a little bit of get back, but I won't carry the shame for that. I won't. Like, I won't be like, oh, I shouldn't have shared this with this person. No. You should not have stolen from me. You should not be a liar. You should not be cheating.
Period.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the Black Muslim women that I'm friends with have similar experiences, like another sister who is in the professional space, and she like confided in me that she's been dealing with the betrayal. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, who I gotta fight, because that's me. Like, I don't care who they are. Let me show up. I'm pulling up. Come outside. I just want to talk.
That's
right. That's how it is. But it's like it happens too often to Black women, especially in spaces that are dominated by men.
And I would say it is too often carried out by men.
They're insecure. That's like that's the conclusion that I have drawn in my this is my 50th year of life, and I swear to God, that's the one truth that keeps me going. It's not you, Nia. It's not you. They just insecure.
Like, you're not going to convince me that I'm crazy. You're not. You're just not. There's too many men in every space in the world, but in the creative space specifically, that are not talented.
Exactly.
That are not talented individuals. I've watched too many male Muslim comedians where I'm like, oh my God, please get him on the Apollo so we can boo him off.
I'm glad you said it.
And there's been so many times where, like, even men will steal from other men, and that man stole what he has. And I'm just like, y'all just passing around stolen
That's
information
sad.
and sources. But
Well, it's because they
uh-huh,
don't value hard work.
absolutely. And it it is still up in the air. And I don't want to present this like it is a fact. But the only thing so many of these just horrendous men understand is violence. That is
Right.
the only thing they understand, and that is the language that I speak.
Me and you.
So it's like, I'm not going to play around with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'm not going to do any of that. And when, I officially came out and announced to everybody that I didn't want to be like in that Muslim entertainment space full time, that's a very large reason why. Because it was
Yeah.
constantly forcing me to be in spaces with men that were not threatening violence onto me specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Knew they had that tendency. Either they had done it to somebody else, they had spoken about it with somebody else, or I just knew that they had the potential for that based
That's
upon their behaviors, their actions, and just their general overall character. And I was just like, I don't want to be here with y'all
that's
because we're not going to go back and forth on the internet. We're
right.
not. We're not. I'm a grown woman.
Hello.
I have a father and I have 8 uncles. We're not going back and forth on the internet. We're not.
There you go.
It's going to get very detrimental and hit you very quickly.
Hello.
um. So yeah, I don't deal with it at all because I
Right.
can't. Like I can't, in good faith, enter that space with you, and both of us are going to leave safely. It's impossible for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many brothers who like they think I'm meek and mild because that's the way I present myself to them, but that's for their own safety,
Right.
honestly. Yeah. I'm the eldest. I have 13 siblings.
Mm.
6 of them are men. I have 16 nieces and nephews. You know, I came up in Baltimore. Like,
We can really do whatever, whenever.
I'm just
It's
looking out for you, bruh. I'm just looking
I'm
out for you.
to help you. Yeah.
Exactly. But you
Yeah.
know, honestly, that kind of makes it difficult for relationships. You know, as you were talking about earlier about Auntie, who's had 3 husbands.
Yeah.
You know, out of my 2 marriages, I have learned a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, one of the things I did have to learn is that men can be insecure of a woman who's confident and who is talented and has things going for her. So like, talk about that. Like, how do you overcome those obstacles? Because, you know, it's been trial and error for me.
I haven't.
It's so hard.
I've talked on my platform, not much as of lately, but recently, about navigating relationships as, and specifically, I want to make it clear, romantic relationships as
Right.
the person that I am, as somebody that's well known, as somebody in the social media space, somebody that, travels and performs and all these other things. And it hasn't been well. Like it's been horrendous.
Awful.
Because I meet too many men that treat me like I'm something to conquer.
Yeah.
Like I've had too many brothers within our first few interactions. Like they weren't a predator laying in wait. Like they were like day one. I had a brother tell me, "Oh, when I marry you, um, it won't be none of this performance stuff no more. Number one, you ain't got the money. You need you a working wife. Okay,
Oh,
let's start there. But number two, I don't respect that, and that is not a space where I would feel safe.
right.
A space where I'm going to be safe, or where I'm going to be happy, or where I'm going to be taken care of.
Right.
Because if the condition of your love and our union is for me to not be myself. What am I? What are we doing here? And I've had too many interactions with very insecure men, and seeing how they really just love me and admire me and look up to me. And instead of honing in on that,
right,
and saying, you know, Nadirah really got it going on. So let me use that to propel me to get it going on. They're like, oh no, let me tear her down so she can be on my level. And it really makes me, number one, so sad for the women that have had to be victims of these men.
exactly.
Two, so sad for these brothers who, a woman on TikTok said, men do so many things to deny themselves a full human experience. Like,
Right.
I'm so sad that you will never be able to experience the true magic of love and companionship because you won't stop looking at you. You won't stop being worried about you. Like, you cannot get outside of yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about abusers, but just insecure men. You know, there'll be those times where you can kind of see their truth. And it's like, I see you really do desire that love and companionship.
Mm-hmm.
And all these fantasies about being loved and comforted, you would like to bring them to life. You just can't get past that wall that is yourself.
Right.
And I'm in a place now, I say, like, I don't know. I feel like 27 is one of those ages where things happen. So I feel like things have been happening.
Alhamdulillah.
Since I was engaged, and that ended in February. So after that, I was like, oh no, I can't, like, I won't be accepting any of this. And I'm very prepared, and Allah knows best, like, what the situation will be. No, I'm a person, I just cannot settle. Like, I cannot dishonor the love that Allah has already given me within myself and with other people to settle for something for the sake of just saying, like, oh yeah, I'm married. Oh yeah, I got a man. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, I just hope that whatever didn't come to me or doesn't come to me in this life will come to me better, you know, in the next. But I can't do it. Like, you'll just go to sleep and you'll never wake up messing with me. Do it. I can't take it.
I feel you. I feel you. Like, yeah. No, but I put that stuff in my art, you know, like the current work in progress that I have coming. I think you would like it. It's called Sex, Love, and Holocaust. Yes. It's about these 5 Muslim women who are friends and they meet every Friday for Halakha, and some are married, some are not. And it's just like, it's a throwback to my experiences back in 2001. Like, so it's set during the time of 9/11. And like, it's a side of us as Black Muslim women, not just Black Muslim women, because they're different ethnicities. As Muslim women, the things that we have to deal with, you know, like the tech bro who thinks, you know, he's marrying somebody to replace his mom and cook for him every night, but like, she has her own identity. Like, y'all just don't understand like what we have to deal with.
But I think that, like, I've met too many men, but especially too many successful men that have no identity. I asked this one brother, he's a very, you know, well-decorated brother. He's like, oh, I need you to help me find a wife. I'm like, number one, I don't suggest any brothers at all, because even the best brothers I know are completely different men when it comes to their wives. So I'm like, I don't have any brothers. I can put your name in there, but I'm not going to tell the sister to marry you. So I was like, okay, you know, what are you looking for in a wife? Well, you know, mind you, this is a man. This is a grown man. This is a 30-something-year-old man.
Oh,
He had no idea.
poor guy.
And then it's like, okay, other than because that was his big thing. Oh, I got money. I got money. That's okay. Other than money, what do you have to offer a wife? Nothing. He
Mm-mm-mm.
had nothing. And I was like, oh my God, I'm scared for you.
Yes, like
Scared. But I think that's interesting. But I think other than intergenerational, relationships, I also really do value the relationships that I have with the opposite gender.
yeah, I'm feeling you on that.
Yeah. But I think with getting older, understanding that's a very interesting part also of the Black American Muslim experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I met so many Muslim women that were like, "Oh no, I don't want to talk to men." I don't know, and I'm like, "Why? Like, what's going on there?"
Right.
No, I have no idea. But yeah,
Yeah, you're right. I think it's cultural, like
very
very cultural. Like, yeah, and it's something that I think we benefit from when we just like take away all these like haram and haram that, and like focus on the positive things that Islam gives us. Because like too many folks that I know who are Muslim came up where everything was haram, like, no, you can't do that, that's haram. And I'm like, I'm just listening to music. Like, no,
mm,
no, no, that's haram, that's haram. I'm just putting on lip gloss. Like, why is it haram? Like,
right,
and then they don't talk to you about why they think it's haram. And it's like, no. Like, my mom used to have conversations with me. So, like, are y'all not having conversations about these things? Like, and that's the difference. Like, nobody wants to talk about like why they have these stigmas, and so they're just passing down like generational trauma. Like,
exactly.
that's where the haram police come from.
They are the most ignorant people ever,
Yeah.
ever. And it's like we get to a certain point where it's like if you know all of these buzzwords and
Mm-hmm.
topics, surely knowledge is somewhere around you.
Right.
And you're choosing not to extract it for whatever reason. Um,
Yeah.
so it's like I sympathize with you, but not too much.
Right. Yeah. Like, be reflective.
Go do something. Good Lord. And I think that also comes from, again, not having older people to get you right.
There you go.
Because in my community, in my family, no matter what it is, if you're going to say something, there's information to back that up.
Exactly.
And even with Black women, it's like, oh yeah, girl, I heard of this good, beauty parlor, da da da. And it's like, okay, well, who else said that? Well,
Right.
what her hair look like? We have information that we can go back
Right.
on. But I think some people it just stops right there for them. And I'm like, you don't have a curiosity to know more.
Exactly. Think deeply.
Right.
But that's like you were saying, it's cultural. Like, you know, I don't know. My mother always, one of the things she used to say to me was like, critical thinking is not like a normal practice. And
Right.
I don't understand why, but I mean, but she's an educator. I'm a former educator. I shouldn't say former. I'm always an educator. So like that's something that like I had to like grow into. So if you're not around people who force you to think for yourself, then you fall into those traps. But does that like come into your comedy? Like I love watching the clips where you talk about stuff like that. Do you like it? Yeah, you got to like put some more of that in your comedy. Like tell me more. Like what can we expect at the next show? Give us a taste.
I have no idea, to be honest. Um, I haven't performed. Excuse me. I don't think it's been a year, but it's been some time that I've been like completely removed because of so many different life changes, um, and because of my newfound job. So I was just thinking about like how is my comedy evolving, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not something that I'm doing full time. I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going back, and thankfully I have like written down all of the jokes that I've ever performed.
That's
So
smart.
back and I'm reading all my old jokes. I'm seeing how I've told those same jokes, but I made them longer, made them shorter, had different punchlines. So I feel like with these shows, I'm trying to show myself have how my comedy has evolved.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to make sure really that it
Mm-hmm.
has evolved. So shows, I want to do a whole new set. And all of them I'm only doing like 15
Mm-hmm.
minutes. But 15 minutes is a sweet spot. And I always tell people 15 minutes goes by like this. But when you're on stage, 15 minutes is like an eternity.
I feel you.
An eternity. It's even longer, Allah forbid, if you bomb.
Oh no.
Allah forbid. So
No.
I want to do a whole new set. And though I am very like niche comedy, I don't want to do only Muslim jokes.
Okay. I
Like I
like that.
jokes for everybody.
Mm.
Because Muslims are very smart
Mm-hmm.
people, are excuse me, having experiences outside of our respective communities, outside of the masjid, outside of other Muslims. So I want to try and do like a everybody type of set.
I like that.
One of the shows that I have coming up will not be for a Muslim audience. So I'm like, okay, let me see. Am I funny or am I just Muslim funny? Let's
No,
see.
I love it. I think you're funny. Like,
Thank
and
you.
you're gonna have crossover appeal because you're
Yeah.
authentic, you're honest, and like real comedy comes from like being reflective of real life experiences, and that's what makes your stuff so good. And like you were saying earlier, there are too many folks who think they're talented and they're not, like because they lack insight. So like there you go, you got to bring that insight. So that's like I definitely wanted to remind folks that your talent comes from a place that is definitely grounded in your faith, but it's also something that you have to work for.
Yeah.
Like talent is not
Yeah.
enough, hard work gets you where you got to go. And yeah, and it's something that I want people to look forward to because there are so many of us Black Muslim girls and women out here doing so many different things.
Yeah.
And you doing comedy is just one of the amazing things that we're capable of. So
Right.
yeah. So you said you got a show coming up. Tell everybody like about the show. Tell everybody where to watch more of your stuff because I want you to get more folks like eyes on your stuff.
I appreciate that. So February 21st, I will be in Delaware alongside Medina and another amazing comedian that I do not remember her name. So I'll be in Delaware February 21st. I'm sorry, February 24th. I will be in Delaware. February 21st, I will be in Philly with the Halal Hilarity alongside Moses the Comic, Azim. I think we're going to have Preacher Moss there. I think we're going to have Omar Regan.
Yeah.
So that's nice. In March 2nd, I will be doing Care Philly is having their yearly event, and I will be performing for them. So those are the three that I have coming up so far. There's so many people emailing me like, "Oh, can you perform at Eid? Can you perform at Eid?" No, no. If you want me to leave my family, to leave my community, to come to your place to work, we're talking upwards of 5 figures.
There you go.
Like I'm not accepting regular rates for me to come on my holiday. I only get 2 a year to come and perform for your community. But that's what I definitely have coming up. How about you? What's new? What's next? What's in the mix? You talked about a project that I've seen you post about that I'm very excited for.
Yeah, Sex, Love, and Holocaust has been like my thing. Actually, I've been kind of incognito because I've been dealing with some major health challenges. And, I'm the kind of person that I take everything that happens to me as like a guide from Allah. Like, whatever it is I'm doing, is Allah is pointing me the way I need to go. And so it was back in 2020 that I had become sick. And so, like, I'm still managing that. I had to, like, accept that I'm a physically disabled person. And, honestly, We already live at intersections as Black Muslim women. It was just another intersection that I had to learn how to navigate. So, alhamdulillah, I'm getting really good care, health care. But in the meantime, my focus has been on Black Muslim Girl Fly because honestly, the Hollywood landscape it was never designed for folks like us.
Exactly.
And then the kinds of stories that I've been trying to tell since 2005, it is like Sisyphus trying to get these people to tell these stories accurately and authentically. So, honestly, I might have to just do that through Black Muslim Girl Fly. But in the meantime, I'm definitely focusing on lifting up my sisters because we're, like you were saying, in order for us to have that community, we have to create it and like build those relationships with one another. And so, yeah, I'm very honored and I thank Allah for our friendship
Yeah.
because to me, even though we're in different parts of the country, I still think of you as a friend. So alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
No,
Oh,
but I'm definitely excited to see the projects that you have forthcoming.
inshallah.
Because especially when we get into the space of like film and media and TV, hate it. And it's
Yeah,
not even just the Black Muslim stuff, but the Muslim stuff in general. Let me not say I hate it. It's just not my story, so I'm not very interested.
definitely.
And a lot of it is a lie anyway. A lot of it is,
Yep.
which I don't have an issue with, a fictional storyline, but
Mm-hmm.
let's not be. um, so I'm definitely looking forward to the work that you do. Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And like Issa Rae was just talking about how like she's had to learn that it has to come, like she's got to do these things because these executives just aren't doing it. And I remember when I learned that lesson the first time was I have this script that I wrote in 2005 that was very good, and I had mentors telling me that this is amazing, this is awesome, we should try to sell this. But when we went to try to sell it, they wanted to change everything about it, right down to the fact that the lead was a Muslim. And does she have to be a Muslim? And I was like, that's the whole idea.
Whole
Like
story.
that's the reason, you know, yes, she becomes a drug kingpin in Baltimore, but
Ah! You know
listen,
what
I'm
is
from
so
Baltimore.
funny about that? I've talked about it before. When I was a little girl, the TV that I used to sneak and watch was all of your like Italian mob films. And more than anything else, I was enamored with the fashion and the respect and the power of it. So for a good, I I don't know how long it was because in a child's mind, but it was over the length of a year. I was committed. I was like, when I grow up, I'm going to be a gangster. I'm going to be the leader of a mob. And the whole time I was like, they're gonna call me Bubbles. And this is the mind of a
I
child.
love it.
I was like, I'm called Bubbles because I blow these. I'm always chewing gum, and I blow these elaborate bubbles.
Ooh,
And when they pop, like everyone just fears
I love
me. And so, for so many years as a child, I was like, I'm gonna do that.
I love
Once
it.
I can't do that.
Listen, huh?
So that is
Growing up in
so
Baltimore,
funny.
that's what I saw. Like,
Yeah.
and honestly, the story is inspired by true events. So,
Yeah.
like, I'm just keeping it
Yeah.
real. But no, yeah, I think I think I might have shared that same penchant for being a gangster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, my favorite film is The Godfather 1 and 2. So
Right.
yeah, inshallah, one day you are going to see this film,
Yeah.
and Allah willing, and it will be done very well. And to all the Muslims out there who like, why besmirch the Muslim name? Listen, we are human beings. Like we experience the same things that people who are not Muslim experience. So like get over that, right? Yeah.
And that is another like I don't know if Muslims realize being more worried about what people think about you than what Allah thinks about you is a form of shirk.
Yes.
And there are so many times where I'll make videos telling the truth about Muslims, and Muslims are like, "Oh, why would you give Muslims a bad name?" Islam doesn't need PR.
Hello.
And I'm not the girl for it. Islam has never needed PR.
No.
It has never. There's nothing in this world that I can do to tarnish Islam's name.
No.
Nothing at all.
No.
And for you to be so worried, why do you want to keep up airs in front of people? Do you really think I care what non-Muslims think about? I don't even care what Muslims think about me, let alone I could care less.
Yes.
It's like, why do you have this desire to appear, not to be? Because
right.
they never mention their desire to be good to people, but only to appear good in front of people.
Right.
Ugh, y'all are weird.
Yep. Exactly. So yeah, thank you so much for that insight, because I've always thought that, like, and I've never, as somebody who has never been cool, I've never wanted to be cool. Like, I'm my own awkward, awesome self.
Right.
Like, and Allah made me this
Right.
way, and Allah
Right.
accepts me fully as I am, and Allah accepts you exactly how you are. And so embrace that. Otherwise, you being disrespectful to your creator. So
Exactly.
yeah. Also, before I go, I'm going to say a lot of that I put into the journal.
Yes, the journal.
So, like, if you guys haven't seen the journal, visit our website. You can check it out. We also have it in purple. So, like, take a look. But I put a lot of that into the journal because that's what we internalize, like the way that people expect us to behave as Muslims. But like you said, it comes from within. Like, talk about, like, your relationship with Allah is the most important relationship ever. So, like, focus on that. Like, get you right. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, Nadirah. Awesome.
Beautiful conversation. A couple people had asked if you'll be saving the live.
Yes. I'm so sorry. I never get a chance to look at the comments because I'm so focused on what you're saying. Alhamdulillah. But yeah, shout out to everybody who was watching live. Thank you so much, because like whatever you typed in, I'm sure that I could feel the energy. Allah makes things happen. So like, don't think that it was ignored. We just didn't have a chance to talk to you. So alhamdulillah for being here, and inshallah you can watch this later if you didn't catch us live. Watch it on our YouTube channel as well. And Nadirah, thank you so much. I will be looking to see more content from you. And when you post, I'm going to repost and send folks your way. So keep it up.
Thank you so much. Thank you for such an amazing conversation, per usual. And hopefully, we get to see each other.
Yes. It's always good. Like when I saw you in person that time, it was nice to see you, alhamdulillah. And I'll give you a hug when I see you again, inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, everybody. Assalamu alaikum.